What are we losing sight of? What are we losing track of? So much going on constantly. It's all, quite frankly, alarming to one degree or another. But one thing we don't talk enough about is the extent to which the Trump regime has as one of its primary missions erasure. They don't just want to take away our rights. They don't just want to erode our sense of who we are as a people or our understanding of our history. They want to erase those things, and they want to erase many, if not most of us. We've seen this time and time again, but it gets lost under the avalanche of other horrors that are happening right before our eyes. The fact that people are disappeared off our streets, denied their rights to due process. The fact that the economy is being systematically destroyed by a moron who understands nothing of the economy. The fact that we now have as our greatest ally, thanks to Donald, what had been one of our most problematic enemies. These are dramatic things going on in the world. Gaza, the horrors of Gaza still unfold every day. The horrors of the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine unfold every day. Immigration policy continues to wreak havoc and untold cruelty upon people on American soil, people who want nothing more than to work to help make this country a better place to be. Underlying all of that, though, is the systematic erasure of entire groups of people, trans people, women, Black people. It's easy if you do not belong to one of those groups, to forget that every day there are worse and worse incursions into the rights that protect people in those groups. Every day, people in those groups face horrible fear because they are under assault constantly. It is easy to forget. So, what do we do about it? Those of us who are not in the most vulnerable groups, those of us who are not in groups that are being erased by the Trump regime, have to stand up and speak out. We need to be better allies. So, to everybody not in the groups being threatened, stand up, speak out. Because in the end, it is the right thing to do, and that should always be the motive. What more motivation do we need than to stand up for people who are being attacked simply because of who they are and how they were born? But if you need more incentive, here it is. They are not going to stop with the most vulnerable groups among us because they're coming for all of us. Let's dive in. That was a lot. Sorry to start on such a grim note, but it's been a week. It's Friday, though, which is cool. Welcome to this episode of Mary Trump Live. I am very happy to have you here. I am not happy, however, that Donald, because Putin must have pulled his leash pretty hard, is in Alaska meeting with Vladimir Putin in order to discuss the Ukrainian war, also known as Russia's illegal invasion of our erstwhile ally, a sovereign democratic nation. And apparently, they're also trying, at least, to repair their fractured relationship. But I'm skeptical that there's a rift between them at all, quite frankly, because we know, even if Donald doesn't, who has the power in that relationship. While the meeting continues, remember, Alaska's in a much different time zone than I don't even know actually what time it is in Alaska right now, but it's much earlier than it is on the East Coast. Initial interactions between Donald Putin and the media have been, let's say, not particularly friendly. Shortly after a reporter asked Putin if he'll commit to stop killing innocent civilians, I wonder if you can guess what Donald did. Did he say, "Yes, Vlad, will you promise to stop killing innocent civilians? I mean, I haven't done that yet, but maybe you should." Is that what Donald said? No. Donald and his staff kicked out the entire press pool. Take a look.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Mr. Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire? Mr. Putin, will you commit to not killing any more civilians?
Thank you, press. Let's go. Come on, guys. Thank you, press.
Mr. President.
Thank you, press.
President Putin, why should President Trump trust your word now?
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
We've got to go.
Thank you, press.
Thank you,
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Everybody get out of the room.
My God, that felt like an episode from The Bear. I'm very stressed now. Yeah, that's the kind of chaos Donald loves stirring up. You know what else he loves doing? Well, the other thing he did there, protecting Putin. This is exactly what we would come to expect, because that is basically Donald's foreign policy right now. Alaskans are not happy that they were chosen, that their home was chosen to be the meeting place between these two authoritarian, well, one is an authoritarian dictator and one is an authoritarian fascist dictator wannabe. And they are not keeping quiet about it. A large crowd of Alaskans greeted Putin and Donald's arrival with Ukraine flags and signs with slogans like "Alaska opposes tyranny." Take a look.
Ukrainian sovereignty is protected by the
Yes, I'm glad that Alaskans are standing up for Ukraine. Unfortunately, the American government is not interested in doing so. I'm quite frankly worried about the outcome of this meeting. The fact that it happened at all is a very bad sign, as far as I'm concerned. There's literally no reason to believe that Putin won't get everything he wants from Donald, just as there's no reason to believe they may try to force a so-called peace plan down President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine's throat, even if it is entirely at Ukraine's expense. So we'll keep you posted. Obviously, this is an extremely important, if quite depressing, meeting. Much like the Alaskans not letting up on Donald or Putin, Gavin Newsom is not letting up on Donald either. He had some choice words when it came to this ill-advised visit with Donald's handler. Take a look.
I hope we are waking up to this reality. Wake up, America.
Wake up to what Donald Trump is doing. Wake up to his assaults. Wake up to the assault on institutions and knowledge and history. Wake up to his war on science and public health. In his war against the American people. This is a guy who lays claim to want to get a Nobel Prize, sitting there and bending his knee to Mr. Putin. You have the power.
I think bending a knee is an understatement, but Newsom is absolutely on the right track there. Donald has been in Putin's back pocket for decades, and he'll do anything to make sure that Putin is happy. That was ostensibly in a meeting about the future of Russia and Ukraine. But much more likely, it was a performance review. So, the question is this. What's more important? Donald's need to please Putin or his need to win the Nobel Peace Prize, which is insane? Well, again, I think he's going to try to do both at the same time, which means what? Well, that means that Ukraine is going to be left out in the cold. That means that America is going to abandon one of its most important allies, and in so doing, Western liberal democracy. Speaking of the Nobel Peace Prize, which is the last thing on the planet Donald should ever get, we know that the meeting with Russia is likely to make little progress in ending the war in Ukraine. Putin has no respect for Donald, and Donald has no real bargaining power. But because Donald has this bizarre obsession with winning the Nobel Peace Prize, Hillary Clinton is calling his bluff by offering to nominate Donald for the Nobel Prize if he manages to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Take a look at what she said on the Raging Moderates podcast with co-host Jessica Tarlov.
I understand from everything I've read, he very much would like to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And honestly, if he could bring about the end to this terrible war where Putin is the aggressor, invading a neighbor country, trying to change the borders, if he could end it without putting Ukraine in a position where it had to concede its territory to the aggressor, had to, in a way, validate Putin's vision of greater Russia, but instead could really stand up to Putin, something we haven't seen, but maybe this is the opportunity, to make it clear that there must be a ceasefire, there will be no exchange of territory, and that over a period of time, Putin should be actually withdrawing from the territory he seized in order to demonstrate his good faith efforts, let us say, not to threaten European security. You know, look, if we could pull that off, if President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize, because my goal here is to not allow capitulation to Putin.
Hillary Clinton never got quite enough credit for her very, very impressive ability to troll Donald, right? I don't think anything got him as angry and heated as her calling him Putin's puppet. And she's right. Donald loves nothing more than to show his enemies who's boss. The problem is Putin's not his enemy. Putin's his boss. In the end, and the end of the Ukraine war is what everybody wants, of course, but he doesn't care how it ends. And that's very important to keep in mind. And he's, forgive me for repeating myself, he's stupid in particular ways. He thinks just by ending the war, even if it is entirely on Russia's terms, that would be enough to get him a Nobel Peace Prize. Hopefully I'm wrong and Hillary Clinton is right. Whatever the case, There's no universe I want to live in which Donald Trump gets a Nobel Peace Prize. But he seems very, very, very focused on it. I mean, desperate, in fact. A Norwegian newspaper that has a name that I cannot pronounce, I apologize, and I don't want to hurt your ears, reported yesterday that Donald cold called Norway's finance minister completely out of the blue to discuss the prize. The report says Donald called Finance Minister Jens Stoltenberg to discuss trade tariffs, but then he slipped in his bid to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And apparently, this is not the first time that Donald has floated that idea. Again, it is a shame that Trump Water went so spectacularly out of business because this is one desperately thirsty man. Now, of course, Donald is, if nothing else, a multitasker. He can lobby for the Nobel Peace Prize and continue to wreak havoc on our capital city. As the DC takeover continues, a new player is involved in the fight for control of the city, and that would be the courts, which is basically how all of this is going to end up in one way or another. The city is sued to block Donald's hostile takeover of its police department in court today, hours after Donald escalated the intervention into the city's police force by naming a federal official as the new emergency head of the department. Pretty sure that's illegal. Washington's police chief Pamela Smith said in a court filing that the move would threaten law and order by upending the command structure. She said, quote, "In my nearly 3 decades in law enforcement, I have never seen a single government action that would cause a greater threat to law and order than this dangerous directive," unquote. Expect there to be much more of this kind of thing in cities throughout our country. Well, blue cities. At this first hearing this afternoon for the city's request for a temporary restraining order against removing Police Chief Smith, U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes indicated the law likely does not allow the regime to the power to take over the city police completely, but it probably does give Donald more power than the city might like. Litigation is likely to play out in the coming days as Donald attempts his illegal takeover, and this continues to be the problem. Just described slow but fine, right? Well, while it's taking its time, do we seriously think that Donald and his minions aren't going to continue coming up with more and more ways to oppress the people of DC, to make incursions into other democratic diverse cities? Of course not. By the time the law gets around to making its decision, much more damage will have been done. Part of this, of course, is a distraction, too. Donald is desperate. Well, in addition to being desperate for a Nobel Peace Prize, which, again, I still can't quite wrap my head around, he continues to want to distract us from the Epstein scandal, the failing economy, which is failing entirely because of him, and all of the chaos and incompetence within the Trump regime, which, last I checked, he leads, allegedly. The most recent distraction is another attempt to fearmonger about drugs and violence. Donald is deploying more than 4,000 Marines and sailors to the waters around Latin America and the Caribbean as part of a newly ramped up effort to combat drug cartels. 2 U.S. defense officials confirmed the military's plans to CNN, signaling a dramatic escalation and show of force. And it is a show of force meant to be a distraction. That doesn't make it any less alarming. CNN reports that one of the officials they spoke to emphasized that the military buildup is for now simply that, a show, aimed at setting a message rather than indicative of any intention to conduct precision targeting of cartels. But it also gives U.S. military commanders and Donald a broad range of options should Donald choose to abuse that power. So again, 2 things could be happening at the same time. It's a show. It is meant to distract us from those things Donald does not want us paying attention to. Mostly, I would think the fact that his name is all over the Epstein files and that it's probably something that will really humiliate him in a way that is annihilatory. But amassing troops in the Caribbean, surrounding Latin American countries in the Caribbean, isn't just a show. That is real force. It may not be getting used yet, but that doesn't mean it can't be. And it certainly doesn't mean it won't be. I promised you it's Friday. It's still Friday, right? I swear, if I got to this point and realized it was Thursday, I'm not entirely sure what we would have needed an emotional support millennium. But we made it. So we breathe. And it's time for our emotional support moment. Actually, I think Friday's emotional support moment should be, we're going to have to work out a way to make it longer or something. Like just put it on a loop. So before we head into the weekend, and I hope everybody has a weekend because we don't really have them anymore because the news is constant and unceasing. Going to enjoy a little relaxing movement. What is it called? What is that stuff called that we listen to? Yes, music. So we want to be reminded, and we shouldn't have to be reminded of this, but there's a lot going on, and sometimes we do need to be reminded that the world we are privileged enough to live upon is an extraordinarily beautiful place if we just opened our eyes. Enjoy. Okay. Did this work? That, my friends, was riveting television. You're welcome. I apologize. I literally have no idea what happened. But let's get back to it. Thank you, Aaron, again. All right. Dorothy, thank you so very much. Oh, cool. We will be getting 2 rescue cats fee. Just 2? 2 is an amazing number of cats to get. Congratulations and thank you. And I apologize again. That was like a total mystery. I have no idea what happened. Maybe it had something to do with the butterflies. I doubt it. Debbie, member for 3 months. Thank you so much. Comment, my husband has a Filipino heritage, so his skin is brown and he forgets with his Spanish last name he could be picked up. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is absolutely awful how afraid people are, how afraid people who aren't directly impacted by this are to speak up or to stand up. And that's exactly what they want. So, again, be an ally. And if you're in one of those groups that's being targeted, please be extraordinarily careful. Because that's America now. Phoebe, one of our super stickers. Thank you so much, Phoebe. Eileen, thank you very much. That's great. This is from my cats to celebrate Dorothy Reed's cats. Cool. I like that. Phoebe, thank you. Question. Mary, do you think that the goal is to get Donald out and replace with J.D. Vance, who is close with Peter Thiel, and continue the dark Project 2025 agenda? Yeah, I mean, listen, they don't need Vance or Thiel it's happening. That Project 2025 is being implemented more and more every single day. I don't think there's much left of it to implement at this point, quite frankly. But you know, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I don't have proof of this, but I think it's highly likely that they are, of course, preparing for the eventuality that Donald is not going to make it through this term, and that if that's the case, Vance would be the president, which is horrifying, and the people with the power would be the people who own JD Vance, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not saying that they're planning like a hostile takeover of the presidency, but they are certainly preparing to have JD Vance in the Oval Office. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be. It's going to be worse than it is now simply because things are continuing to get worse all the time. It's not going to be worse because it's JD Vance. It's not like Donald's really in control of anything either, quite frankly. Lissa, thank you very, very much for that. Comment, President Zelensky is a true hero, something Donald will never understand or experience. Yes, that is right. That is one of the reasons he hates Zelensky so much. He's brave. He's funny. He's smart. He's every single thing that Donald is not. Electron Creations gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Phoebe, again, you are on a tear, as they say. Question. Do you think that Newsom can stop this? Well, I've been saying since the election, actually, that the governors in blue states, plus Andy Bashir and Kansas, are going to be our last line of defense against fascism. I don't think they can stop what's happening in the whole country because they can't, they only have control of their own states. But that is better than capitulating. It's better to have all of the blue states standing firm and holding the line than have no states that are holding the line. So I think Newsom can and will do a great deal in California to make sure that the people of California are protected and that California remains sovereign and does not become a fascist city-state under the sway of the Trump regime. Rock and Steady, thank you so very much, as always. Comment. The most staggering and glaring issue about this meeting in Alaska is that the war criminal Putin is intelligent and Donald has the IQ of a crustacean. This is a horrible situation for the United States and an insult to crustaceans, quite frankly. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's there aren't really words. Yeah, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, but it's horrifying as well. Susan Thompson, thank you so very much as always. Gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's fantastic. In the middle of nowhere, thank you so very much as always. It's amazing. Comment. I keep asking myself, if I could see through my kids lying and MAGA's lies are equally transparent, why are they believed? Does anyone remember the Blair Witch Project? If you don't, it turned out to be a total fraud. Sound familiar? Yeah. See, that's always driven me crazy to the extent that I'm saying. Donald is a terrible liar. Like, it is so obvious when he's lying. The fact that anybody ever thinks that guy is telling the truth is mind-blowing to me. Just like the fact that anybody thinks that he's smart or knowledgeable or savvy or successful also drives me crazy, because none of those things is true about him. It's really weird. And I'm telling you, we're going to spend generations trying to figure this one out if all goes well. Minus Cheryl, thank you again. Gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Fabulous. Lynn, Canadian in the house. Elbows up, everybody. Super sticker. Thank you for that. Donna, member for 3 months. Thank you so much. Comment. Hi, Mary. I hope you're feeling well. I cannot abide with the horrible treatment of our people here and genocide going on in Gaza. We're all humans. All should be treated with respect. The cabal running the country did not get respect. No one should live in fear. Yeah, it's just we're getting it completely wrong here. And that's something that has worried me since 2016. I grew up in a family in which kindness, generosity, sensitivity were considered weakness. And that's exactly what's playing out here. And I would like to think that the point of being human is to be kind, to be compassionate, to have empathy. Because otherwise, what is the point of us, really? So, yeah, I am with you. And we just have to hope it's going to get better. And that's, a large part of that is up to us. Susan, thank you so much again. Comment, spotlight on Epstein cover-up every damn day. Absolutely. Every day. And keep reminding people, we know now Donald's name is all over that Epstein file. What a coincidence. It's so weird he doesn't want us to see it. I mean, I'm sure he's mentioned glowingly. Greg, thanks so much as always. Comment, we have a bad history with Latin America. That is an understatement. Boy, do we ever. I don't see how this ends well. Be best, LOL. Thank you for that. Oh, cool. Sound fee, nothing can silence Mary. Well, something did, but it was temporary. One thing can silence me, and it's if I lose my voice. So I'm not gonna talk much this weekend. Thank you again. Susan, also on a tear. Thank you. Comment, fee for Mary staying calm with tech issues. You rock. Well, thank you. I mean, there's so much going on that this is a blip. We can stay calm about such things, right? Because I know you guys rock. You're patient. You're understanding. You know that things go wrong sometimes. Like the fact that my computer is actually on its last legs at the moment. But I think we're going to be okay. I mean, I think I'll make it to the end of the show is what I'm saying. I know we're going to be okay. In the grand scheme of things. BD, new member? I just got it. Thank you. It's funny and welcome. Richard, thank you so very much. Question, books you'd recommend to understand our current and past dictatorships. Already listened to Ruth Bader Ginsburg Strongman, a voice we need to listen to. Yeah, Ruth's book is phenomenal. Go get it if you haven't. Other books, Timothy Snyder's on tyranny. Also, I mean, it is not for the faint of heart, but his book Bloodlands is quite extraordinary as well. I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything specifically off the top of my head. I haven't read anything about that topic in a while. But I've read a lot about Nazi Germany and the Holocaust, and all of that's pretty enlightening. So reread 1984 by George Orwell. Unbelievably enough, it's fiction. But yeah, you know what? I'll think about it. I will look at my bookshelf and see if I can come up with other good reads for you. Pam Klein, thank you so very much. Comment, I'm worried about our voting rights going away fee. Yeah, we should be very worried about our voting rights going away. So we need to be strategic. We need to be really, really strategic. And we're going to stay on that. And yes, we want to keep you guys informed. We want everybody's eyes wide open. And, we want you to have all the information you need to make certain decisions. But, we also want to connect some dots and make sense of all this so that we can figure out a way forward. It's extremely important to everybody here. And that's part of what we're trying to do. Okay, before my computer battery dies, let me thank everybody for watching on YouTube, for streaming on Twitter, and my Substack, The Good in Us. To everybody listening to the podcast, thank you very much. To all of our new members, to everybody gifting memberships, to all of our super stickers, and everybody giving us donations. We literally couldn't do this without you. You help us keep the lights on. You help us grow. It is so appreciated. Seriously. Also, to our great moderators who make this community an amazing place to be, and who help us stay calm in what are, quite frankly, troubling and technically challenging times. Well, before I get to that, just a quick reminder that we are really, really, really well right now. That YouTube algorithm is a pesky little thing. So we're experiencing a bit of a lull. However, that means it's actually a better time to subscribe to the channel, to like and share our videos, which we drop every day. Like them, share them, comment on them, etc. It's it doesn't cost anything, and just like subscribing to the channel, it gives you access to all of our public content. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things. Ask Me Anything will be back on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern and at 5 o'clock Eastern. Finally, for my long-suffering banned book club members, we will be meeting to discuss Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye at 5 p.m. Eastern. So I'm so looking forward to that. And I apologize again. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. But I am not going anywhere for at least a month. So, I mean, I'm actually probably going to get out of this chair soon, but I'm not leaving New York City for a bit. Finally, it is Friday, and it has been something of a week. I've been traveling like a maniac, and my team has gotten me through it. They have done the most amazing job. They just continue to blow my mind. So thanks, guys, for everything you do. Let's keep doing it. Let's have some fun. All right, everybody. That is it for this week. Actually, we made it through another one. Don't forget, we've got Trump Trolls Trump tomorrow, dropping at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's one of our favorite things here. So we know you will enjoy it. Every Saturday, we have a new episode of Trump Trolls Trump, Saturday at 2 o'clock. And I will see you, if not in the book club, at 5 o'clock on Sunday. I will see you at Ask Me Anything Within Reason. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.